Yo, I just wanted to say, before we started this podcast, the Black with No Cream community is now free. I'll make a separate episode explaining why it's free. But if you are not in Black with No Cream, if you haven't been a part of the community, or if you have been in the past and you haven't checked in a bit, go make an account, sign up. It's absolutely free. I'm done charging money for it. I want this to be a free resource for creators of all kinds. So come share job opportunities, share your ideas, share your work, ask for feedback, make friendships, grow your network. Black with No Cream is totally free for creators. So bwnc.com/join. All right, let's get into this podcast episode.
Ladies and gentlemen, the cream team. Stay creamy. Sam Newton himself. He's in the house, ladies. He's in the house, gentlemen. No turtleneck on. I don't get what's going on here.
Oh, we might as well just start hot. So thank you, first and foremost, for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Black with No Cream, it's back. But this is the first official time. I'm just going to look straight in the camera. The first official time that the cream has been on the podcast. So I have something special for you.
What did you... Oh, he's leaving
To
now.
really bring the cream.
What the fuck? Please tell me. He's either coming with some milk. He may have some... Oh, shit. I got my own official... Ooh! It's crazy because I was just looking this up. You can get it for $69 at staycreamy.com. Is that the website?
By the time this goes live, I'm pretty sure
These
they'll be
motherfuckers
gone,
are sold
but-
out. Can I put this on?
Absolutely.
Can you just describe what's happening to everyone?
So for those of you who don't know me, what's up? Hi. Hey, thanks for joining.
Yeah.
My name's Sam. I'm a travel filmmaker, and I do this thing on once a year where I sell turtlenecks. I always say stay creamy in all my videos because I think it's funny. So it's funny that I'm on Black with No Cream, and we've officially
the creamiest.
we've officially provided the cream.
The creamiest creator we've ever had on this
Black with cream.
How do I look?
Hey,
Look
you
at
gotta.
that.
Wait,
Ooh.
what's the most important part? Yeah, you gotta get the neck right.
What do you think?
So you gotta roll it down.
Roll it down like
Yeah,
this?
Yeah,
Like
just
that?
one, exactly.
One time?
Yeah, one time.
What do you like?
Damn.
Think it
All
was good?
right.
This is the funniest shit ever. Yo, I'm official as fuck. That's the most official shit ever. Thank you, bro.
Now when you clip this for, Instagram Reels and shit, you're gonna be people are gonna be like,
Yo, it's actually really nice. Like I feel like this might be my holiday vibes.
dude, you throw a jacket over it too? when
Yeah,
you
I
go
saw
out?
your promo video.
Yeah,
You were looking good. I like it. But you got the logo sick too.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, this is really. Who made this?
my friend Kara. She's
Yeah,
my
shout out to
graphic
Kara.
designer, yeah.
Good God. Well, I feel like I don't know, like I could get in anywhere. Like I could get in the fucking the Louvre. Or
I mean,
whatever
for
that shit's
me, I
called.
do all my music videos with my turtleneck on. So
Right.
whenever I put on my turtleneck and my little glasses, like my persona kind of
Turn
kicks
on.
in.
Yeah,
exactly.
You feel like
And
who's like, man, I can't even compare it to anybody. You feel like Sam Newton, but
Batman,
yeah. Right. That's
Straight
tight.
up. Or
Dude,
Spider-Man.
You just got off a plane.
I literally just landed 2 hours ago.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I know we got a crazy weekend ahead of us. For people who don't understand the context, ComplexCon's happening right now. This will come out much later, but ComplexCon's coming on. You're going to be doing a panel. I'm doing a panel. You're only here for like 2 days.
Yep.
But you were kind enough to come hop on this shit and
Absolutely.
talk about stuff with me.
Absolutely. ComplexCon, cutting edge hip hop culture, Sam Newton. You gotta have him.
Are you performing? Did you fucking find a way to slide in there?
Bro, I was looking at
It's like ASAP Ferg, Sam Newton.
it's like T.I., Michael B. Jordan, Pusha T, Sam
Imagine
Newton.
how tight would that be? Like that would be so tight.
But they're actually in the who's gonna be at ComplexCon. And
It says
have
that?
you seen that
No,
list?
no, I haven't.
Yeah, you're on it
Hell
too.
yeah, let's
I just
go.
posted it on my story because my friend sent it to me. He's like, yo, this is crazy. And I looked at it and you're scrolling through names like Sean Evans, Michael B. Jordan.
Dude, that's so dope.
Sam Newton.
How did I not? I didn't see that. Yeah, I've been living under a rock. We've just been here recording episodes all week. All right, I missed the
You've
whole
just been
promo
getting
release.
after it. I
know,
love it.
dude. I'm pumped because I feel like I really like your shit. Obviously, I found out about you before the Canon thing happened. Shout out to us. We're both collab members.
Hey,
we got signed to
did that.
Canon.
We
We're
did that.
ambassadors. And I think that I'm really curious about your journey because. I'm just gonna say this. I was on the YouTube channel and I found a video from 12 years ago where you're shouting out, you were rapping about your fucking chemistry teacher.
That's
And
a
I was
weird
like,
one.
oh, he's been doing this shit for a really long time. That was 12 years ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Why? Like, did this shit just like happen? Like, were you like kind of into the idea of the Lonely Island shit? Was that like early on inspo?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things I'm like most proud about for me as a creator, that
Yeah.
I feel like I've stayed true to who I am and like what I like doing from day one all the way to now.
Right.
And like I still always talk about how I just want to make sure the people that watch my videos are always saving time, because everyone talks about hustling and grinding and getting the bag, and just always making sure you have time to make videos that you love and that you actually care about, because I feel like that's the anomaly in today's day and age.
Right.
Everyone, like, what's the trend? What's the algorithm? Like, how many people are actually making a passion project, and whether or not it does insanely well, like, people respect that. People will see that and understand that. And for me, like, that was super deep for starting about
I like it.
a rap about a
For
chemistry
me,
teacher.
my chemistry teacher just really propelled me to I love this man.
When I was learning about those covalent bonds and shit, no, we shout out Mr. Dingwall. We made this song, and it was sophomore year of high school, and it's called Chemistry Love Affair. And this is when we were just fucking around with not iMovie, but GarageBand.
Oh yeah, right.
And literally like rapping into my parents had this iMac, and it had a built-in microphone like on the top left corner.
Yeah.
We're rapping into like a mic, and man,
it sounds like it.
Yeah, it did. I know.
It actually didn't sound bad. It sounded kind of what everyone else.
But yeah,
does
dude,
sound
we
like
were
now.
just kids with like no expectations, just having fun making music like that, and it was so funny, and it went like viral within our school.
Hell yeah.
So like everybody heard it.
Yeah,
Everybody there. We had a prom rally, and we came out and performed it live.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Holy shit! Was the teacher in on it?
Huh?
For anyone that doesn't understand, it's like him and his homies like just like talking about how much they love this dude, and like they're moving around. You guys had a lot of scenes. You shot them for like had to have been like a week.
I had to have a conversation with like the vice principal, because they were like, "Hey, this is fine, but like we just want to make sure this doesn't go like one step further." Because
Yeah.
I literally, there's like a line in the song where I was like, I know you have a wife, but I don't care. You could call it a one-sided chemistry love affair. And I'm like a 15-year-old dude rapping about my 45-year-old chem teacher. And obviously it was just a funny bit that we did, but they're like, yeah, you got to tone it down a little
Get
bit
people
for us.
jammed up on this shit.
Exactly.
They had like I mean in my high school I did something very similar. My videos were just me doing the same shit, and I remember made one called Crack in School. It was all good, and it was just me or my friend doing crack, and me being very concerned. I'm like, bro, you just keep doing crack all the time, and I would like follow him around. I made it in like a day because I had to turn something in, but I had my vice principal in it, and like I made it where I like go to tell him that I'm like ratting on my homie, and he's like, just tell me his name. I'm like, oh, I don't want to be a rat, but you got to help my friend. And he's like, what are you doing? And then I ran away. I was like, how did that work? Like, how did he allow?
There are quite a few videos that I made in high school that I'm like, you know what? It's not like cancelable, but like let's just not let the
we'll just delete
we don't need to have this
They're just
coming.
trash. I know, dude. It was so fun because it was like self-expression. I think at that time, like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it was for you, but like I'm older than you. I would always like Lonely Island's making these skits on fucking SNL, and I'm like, yo, that I love rap, right? So, and obviously they do too, but they're also playing in the comedy side of it, and it was so intriguing to watch people like do that and become well known and share and make everyone laugh. You know what I mean? Everyone in the world was like laughing at those skits and shit. Like, what was that similar for you guys? Did you have like influences?
100%. I mean, Lonely Island, just the idea of like for us, we would just go get in a minivan, get high, and freestyle, you know, for the longest time. And it was where I caught on where I'm like, I'm kind of good at this. And then it was just this like no pressure situation of like making stuff that nobody's going to watch. It was just for the act of making it,
Right.
Which is just the most like pure. It's just a bunch of teenagers like, dude, this is funny.
Yeah.
We should do
Everyone's
this.
just sitting there
And that's
watching
the only reason. And like, I wish I could go back to that time in my life where I didn't have an audience and I had this kind of ability to just like, yo, I have this funny idea, let's make it. And we made it just because it was funny. And we had influences, Lonely Island, obviously, like just having that ability. Weird Al, even going back one step further. I always listen to Weird Al with my dad, and just knowing that there is this cool medium of taking like humor and making like legitimate, because I think my music is legitimately good, but you take that funny twist of like, yo, this dude's rapping about cameras.
That's what's so funny.
What's going on?
Because it's unusual as fuck when you click play, you're like, all right, cool, he's going to rap about a Nikon camera or whatever. And then you play it and you actually sound good. And you're like, what the fuck is this? Because that's really low-key how I tripped on you. I will watch Peter's videos.
Yeah.
He's talking about this kid that made a rap. I'm like, wait, what is this? And then you click it. Obviously, I know everyone's talked about that, and we'll get to it later. But when I clicked, I was like, yo, this is actually tight, because it's like, he could low-key, if he really wanted to just be a rapper, he could probably figure out how to do it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's so funny. I love, when you see stuff like that and you can reflect on that type of shit. Like there's the second video, do the chicken waddle. These
Damn,
are videos. We're going back. I know, but what's funny is like
I appreciate it.
Were you like that? That to me is like you were a Mac Miller fan when you made that video. Were you?
Don't talk about kids, man. That's like
that's
all
what
of high school.
It literally looks like you guys are like, we got to do it exactly like I want to be. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I love Mac Miller.
Dude, Kids, Cushion OJ, Wiz Khalifa, those are the two that I listened to like on repeat nonstop back in like 2011, 2012. Yeah.
Was it like, were you guys like when you made that first one and all of a sudden you guys are performing live and shit? Just so crazy.
It was just fun. It's just like such a weird like bubble in my high school town, and we'd like performing live is like us performing it at a like high school event.
That's so fucking funny. That's like the most ridiculous shit of all time. Were you? I want to. There's other questions I have about like the early years because I think it's so key. But I'm curious, like when you were coming up, like before that, obviously finding music and you trip on video cameras. Like what got you into it? Like from a childhood, like can you kind of walk us through like where you're from and like how you got into the arts? I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm from Claremont, California, so I'm right around the corner here. And my dad, he always like I played soccer my whole life, and my dad picked up a camera and he would always shoot my sister and myself like playing soccer. And so I always like saw my dad doing photography, and he bought like the OG GoPro Hero, and that's what the chicken waddle was filmed on.
Oh, really?
And so we used to take that GoPro and just run around like, yo, we have this video camera now, let's make some fun stuff. And that's kind of where that started. And then I went into college, and from college is when I was like, you know, this video stuff has some legs. I used to make these monthly videos, basically like January 2013. These are the videos that I took down there. I'm like, you know what? I don't need like a bunch of like drinking and partying 18-year-old Sam videos on the internet. But those are the ones where it was just me, like I said, just me and my friends, no intentions. Like, let's make this fun video. Let's make this. And that's where I practiced for like a year. And then a bunch of clubs on campus started hitting me up. And then I made like my first big video, which was called, that's on my YouTube channel too, A Student's Perspective. For UC Davis.
Is that the one where it says? Is that the one that says like this wasn't like an official?
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's what I was curious. You were making like these funny videos and shit, and like parodies and whatever, and then out of nowhere, it kind of looks like you bought your first real DSLR, and then you go and kind of shoot your little thing, you know, and then you just like disappear for like
a Nikon 3200.
Was it?
D3200.
I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is.
It's just funny after my whole brand. Like,
yeah, I know that is really.
That's
fucking
what
funny.
I started on.
I know.
Yeah,
I wish
hilarious.
you had like BTS from back then.
I have a few, not as much as I would like, but yeah. Photos.
But when you were like making the parodies, and then it kind of like if you literally like if you're looking at history on your YouTube channel from how you've created it for me to see, it's like you're making videos
and then
like
boom, that professional one.
Yeah, it's like 12, 10 years ago, 10 years ago, 9 years ago, 8 years ago, and then you dip for like 4 years, right? So then, but it looked like you had just kind of found your little path, and then like there's no content that you shared anymore.
I mean I took a lot. I took some of it down because it was very, very personal. But at that point in time, I was in my client. Like I was like, 19, doing short corporate commercials for nearby companies and stuff. And that's when I was like really learning how to be an entrepreneur. But that was my first realization of like, wow, I can actually do this, because I made that video. It was like not affiliated, and that's when like the I'm Smacked videos were big. I don't know if you remember those back in the day. Jimmy Tatro's frat video. That was like my college time. Yeah, and I was like, dude, there's nothing about my college that makes UC Davis look fun at all. Like everybody just thinks it's like this cow town up in Sacramento. So me and my buddies were like, dude, let's make like a fun. It's not necessarily a party video. We took a different direction, but there are like party scenes in it. Yeah, and we're like, let's take a fun approach, and we made that, and it instantly just blew up. And that was the first time like everybody on campus knew like Sam, he's the video guy. Damn. He makes those Davis videos. And that's when I was like, wow, I can actually do this. And then I never really looked back. I graduated and started traveling and took my camera with me, and everything just kind of snowballed.
But when you were in college, like you're saying some of the more personal shit, it's like you're making those types of videos, but you're probably also making like vloggy like party recaps or whatever. And obviously
I had my camera with me all the time.
Yeah. Well, all the time. Did you have a program? Were you in like some sort of film program or like video program?
Technically in digital media.
Same.
But digital media at USC and digital media at UC Davis are two different worlds. You know, it's completely black and white, where we had like 50 people, and it wasn't something that I learned much, but man, because people always ask me like, dude, should I go to film school? Should I go to, and for me, I took the weirdest approach of like going to a school that had no film program at all, but that kicked my ass into shape on like my entrepreneurial side, which was really exciting, because that's why there's always opportunities and things you don't, like, oh, maybe I didn't go to film school. But the opportunity that I got out of that was because I went to such a small town with no film school, I was able to like craft my ability to make videos, be an entrepreneur, and there were no other videographers.
Like no competition.
No competition whatsoever. And this is 2013, so there weren't like sorority videos, football videos, all these fun college videos that like everyone has now. At UC Davis, there was nothing. And so immediately people started seeing these videos spread around Facebook, and they're like, who's this kid making all these fun videos about campus? And that's when I realized, I was like, wow, this is a blessing that I'm not going to a film school, because I'm literally the only guy with a camera that people are like, yo, he will make something good.
Yeah. When you were saying like that wasn't necessarily like your vision, you're like, I took this approach of going to the school, but that wasn't the plan originally when you went to college, right? You just went there and then started developing, right?
Yeah, no plan. I just liked making stuff on the side. I like making music. I like making videos, but I never really thought that it was going to be something I did full time. Yeah. And then, once I started doing that in college, I was like, yo, I can make money doing this. This is crazy. And then I got to my...
How did you figure out, like what was the process of you, like, were you taking like business classes or what? How did you get on the entrepreneurial side?
See, this is why, like, I learned nothing in college. I learned nothing in college. I learned everything.
Shout out to UC Davis. You know what I mean?
That's unfair. You get a soundboard. I want to...
I know. I just got to get away from you. We'll never get anywhere. You just be like...
That shit would be riding all episode. My ADD would just
it has been going crazy.
I mean, the college was a crazy time, and to not have that film program, it opened up these doors of like, okay, well, this one, like a sorority would hit me up, right? And they're the queens of social media. I made a sorority video, and obviously they're, we have 130 girls. This is Facebook back in the day.
Right.
130 girls sharing the Go Alpha Phi video on Facebook. Yeah. Everyone in the school is going to see that video, and that's just like viral marketing. I made like $150, but as a 19-year-old dude, where you're like, dude, you mean I get to go to a sorority house and just film girls dancing and then turn around this video, and that would blow up. And then the 150 turned into 250, turned into the chancellor at UC Davis, the chancellor's office. She was kind of in some hot water at the time because there was a pepper spray incident from like back in the Occupy movement. 2011, I think. You remember the 1% movement? Like,
yeah, but what
all right. So basically, some people that weren't college students came in. I might be butchering this whole thing, but whatever. They came in. You can Google. Google's crazy. Yeah. And they were protesting the Occupy 1% movement.
Word.
And they're sitting down, and the police came in and pepper sprayed all the protesters. Yeah. And the chancellor at the time was just in a lot of hot water on how she was handling how she was handling. She was on some sketchy board stuff. And so the chancellor's office hired me as a student, a little 19-year-old, make it. And they're like, we just want you to make some fun videos about campus and just
try to put that shit under the bridge. Like, let's just kind of sweep this under the rug. I
don't think it was like that. It was just more like, it wasn't even her specific. It was just the college campus in general was like, hey, I think a lot of people are like, there's a lot of negative press, and it wasn't necessarily to bury it, but it was like, you're making fun videos. Like, we just want you to make, and I was like, whoa, dude, this is crazy. The opportunity for me, just like having a camera and making stuff, just seeing the fact that there are so many different routes to take. And I think a lot of people get very one-track minded, especially listening to like different podcasts and different courses that you can buy and different, people on the internet being like, you want success, this is what you have to do.
$100K a year.
Exactly.
100K.
I went to an agricultural science school.
Yeah.
Literally just known for cows and shit. Cows and shit.
And now you make fucking turtlenecks.
And now I'm fucking
over with.
And now I travel and do cool shit with Ben Haggerty, Black with No Cream. So it's crazy how like there really isn't one route, and like people try to peddle you this idea that, oh, if you want to be successful, this is what you got to do. You got to post 10 times a day. You got to. Yeah. And for me, it was just, I had this really weird niche route, and somehow, I stuck with it, and I got to where I am today.
So when they hired you, was that like a big check, like a check that was big to you?
For me, yeah. It would be like $1,000 a video.
Right.
You know, and I'm like, whoa. And they were like, you get complete creative control. We just want some fun. And I was like, whoa.
Dude, that's so sick. Like
Wow.
being 19 and the school actually giving you money back, which is rare, right? Like, can you just like waive my tuition?
Well, at the time I had like a $12 an hour campus job. So to get
yeah.
like $1,000 a video, I'm like, dude, I can quit this.
That's crazy.
I can actually make money. And then by the time I hit senior year, I'd paid off like half my student loans.
so
And I was
sick.
like, if anybody can make videos and make a living, like I've already proven I can do some.
Yeah.
So like, why would I apply for a job?
Right. No,
Yeah.
true. Did you have like homies that you started building like a production little company with, or were you like just solo dolo by yourself doing it all on your own?
It was basically just me for up until like I started traveling. My best friend Gabe and we probably emailed like 5,000 companies before our very first trip right after I graduated college. And it's the hilarious email template. It's so bad. It's so cringy. But we just emailed a bunch. We went out to Europe, and this is where like my travel. I know I haven't. For those of you who don't know who I am at all, I'm a full-time travel filmmaker.
I'll tee it up before we started the episode. There's like a whole description.
Oh, okay, cool.
Don't worry about that.
All right, beautiful. But yeah, that's when I started traveling, and we emailed so many people, and it was just he and I. And Gabe would email all these companies and just be like, "Yo, we're going to Europe. And we probably had a company called Cannabis, which is like a weed clothing company.
Okay.
And then we had Eurail, the European rail system, Wombat City Hostel, and one other like a water bottle company that all said yes out of like 5,000 companies that were like, yo, and we made like $1,000, and then we got free train travel through Eurail, and we got free stay through Wombat City Hostel, and we stayed in Europe for a month. And that's when that light bulb went off in my head. I'm like, yo, if we develop more of a system here, then like you can actually make money and travel. And all I really wanted to do at the time was travel. So I was like, I love my camera and I love traveling. So how can I figure this out? And it was just basically rinse and repeat. And then I met my buddy Luke Jackson Clark, shout out Luke. And he and I we met in a hostel in Thailand. And then we were basically having this conversation. I was 22 and he was 18 at the time.
Right.
Like, no one's taking us seriously. Like these clients, if it's just us, and we're like, well, why don't we start a company called Move to Create, which is what we did. And then we could start charging a little bit more, do a website. And it was absolutely insane the way like everything switched after that. We changed the branding, and then now we had this really bad portfolio, but we had pretty decently clean branding for the time. And, we were landing clients like Starbucks and Shangri-La and Omega watches. And just because we were traveling to these places, we're like, hey.
Yeah, they need, otherwise they're going to have to hire, for a lot of people who don't think, they're going to have to hire a crew to go to Shanghai to do whatever. It's going to cost 80% more, or 800,000% more than hiring someone like you to be able to go and just have free
Give
control.
us $1,000 and a water bottle, and we'll go get photos and videos of your product in this country. And we would just choose a random country and go there for a month. Yeah,
that's so sick. So was the company, it was just you two that like co-founded it?
Yep.
And then it was just you guys just trying to figure out how to like reach out. It was like all cold emails.
Yep. We had a separate email that basically I would like almost use as like my assistant, where I would like reach out to people and they would respond to the email, and I'm like, oh, this is incredible. Let me forward you to the founder, Sam. And I'd forward the email to myself and be like, hey, how's it going? Because we just want to make it seem like a bigger operation, because we were just
super smart.
22, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing, but I can make it look like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And suddenly I started landing bigger clients. I'm like, whoa, it's really, presentation is a pretty big thing.
Hands down. No, I love that. My other homie he was on the podcast early, but he was a public speaker. He did the same shit. He had like a manager that was in India that could never talk on the phone, and it was just handling everything on email. And he's like, I could be good cop, bad cop. And that positioning was so good. Cause
yo, I know my manager says $10,000 only, but hey, between you and me,
I'll do it for 9. I promise you, I'll do it. I'll talk to him. Don't worry. I'll talk to him. It's all good. It's all good. It's funny as fuck how that works, but it's the psychology of what a real company would have. Because most people do have assistants. They have people that are liaisons or producers or whatever. Damn, that's fucking tight. So were you like, wanting to travel and capture shit on the road at that time? What was getting you like the idea that was even, I know you made money off one job, but like what was inspiring you to like leave California? Like you were born and raised here, you went to college in the state. What was like, oh, I actually want to go like everywhere else?
So I never traveled like growing up. I think me and my family went on like one family vacation. And so basically anytime we'd want to go somewhere, it was just like, and we're in Southern California, so the weather's already nice. It was just like, hey, pack up, let's go to the beach.
Right.
And so we never did, like I never left the country. until I was 16 for the very first time, and I just went to Mexico. And then after that, I hadn't left the college. I haven't left the college until country ended. I hadn't left the country until college ended. And basically at that point in time, I'd been to America and Mexico, and I was like, you know what? I want to see the world. You know, I'm young. I have no job. I just graduated. I have this camera. Let's do it. In those next 3 years, it was just a big send of just figuring things out and going, and went to about 31 countries in 3 years.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, right
Ridiculous.
after. And I mean, I learned more about myself on that, and like business-wise, you know, being in a country and being in like a hostel in Southeast Asia, and you have, you know, $300 in your bank account, and you're like, okay, I haven't even bought my return ticket yet. Like, how can I? And then just reaching out to different company, and I had like a buddy fly out and meet me there with a water bottle, and he's like, okay, this water bottle company is giving us $500. I'm like, $500, nice. That's life. That's another 3 weeks out in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And so I kept doing that, and basically would just rinse and repeat and just learn. Like, you know, when your back's up against the wall, it's crazy how much you learn.
Yeah.
When you're like, oh, I really have no other options.
And how much you can do with very little. Like it goes a long way.
Yep.
That's so. How much was how much is a hostel? Like, if you were to stay over there, is it like
in
it's fairly
Vietnam?
cheap?
Oh my gosh. Also, people always ask me, Sam, like, where should I travel to? Vietnam. I don't know if you can call Vietnam underrated, but oh my God,
Insane.
go to Vietnam. It's so sick. And a hostel in Vietnam, back when I was traveling, was like $11 a night for like a room with other people in it.
Yeah.
And if you wanted your own room, like 20 something.
Oh, I didn't even know they offer. I didn't even know hostels did that.
Well, there's some hostel or like even a cheap hotel, $20.
Right.
But dude, it's insane and so nice. And Vietnam, like all
crazy.
these other countries, they'll like see like, oh, that's a tourist. Let's like harass you. Vietnam, dude, they just go about their business. You just walk through and there's cars driving. You're like, wow, it's crazy, man.
That's how far money can go. Like $500 at the time. If you're paying $11,
$1,000 gets you a month in Vietnam.
That's
if
crazy.
you're like on a backpacker's budget, yeah.
Damn. That's so fucking tight. What did your parents think when you were like doing this shit?
You know, I love my parents. That's one of the coolest things about the parents that I have. And, you know, they didn't really like support me financially in doing it. They're like, well, you know, if you're going to mess up, you're going to mess up.
Yeah,
but I did have that fallback of like, yo, if I do mess up, worst case, I just move back in with my parents. And they were so supportive of just like, yo, if you want to try this, this is you, but you have to figure this out.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, cool. And so I went, and obviously my mom was nervous about, you know, how many random places I was in. When you look at the Apple Maps dot and you're just randomly in Western Kenya in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and you're just like,
but
is there lions there? Are you okay? Just check in, please. Is it? I at the time, I mean, you know, I know throughout a lot of like the theme in your videos, like Sam Colder is like this god, right? And obviously, the dude's a goat. So we're seeing him do shit like this. Was that early inspo? Like, were you finding those? Like, was YouTube culture for like travel and like beautiful destinations?
The 2017 Instagram world was weird.
Right.
It was like the travel space. It was such a bubble. But that's when Beautiful Destinations was popping off. Sam Colder's like first videos were really going off. Like the OG, like Nainoa Langer, Mike Visuals, when like trendy edits were really happening, and I loved it at the time.
And this was before you guys were leaving? Like, were those channels popping off, or like was that what kind of made you be like, yo, we could kind of do similar shit? Like
that was like as I was traveling. So I was like, oh, dude, I can probably make videos like this. But I wasn't super into like the trendy, fast EDM. Like, dude, every song had a Millennium track on it. Yeah. And I wasn't super into it, but it worked so well. And Sam Colder came out with his My Year videos, and they blew up. And everyone was dropping these My Year videos that all looked the same. They all had the same Odessa or Millennium track on it. They were all basically the same, just like travel vomit.
Right.
And shout out Sam though, like he literally changed the game for so many people and inspired so many people to pick up a camera in the first place. But I was like, hey, I'm not this person. I also don't look that cool on camera. I'm just kind of an average looking motherfucker. And I knew that. I mean, all these people, you know, all these dudes.
They're fucking amazing looking. Like, they look so beautiful. Good. They're fucking gorgeous.
Have you ever seen Matt Como? Have you ever
I ran into him at a party, and I don't know, I was drunk. I can't remember what I told him. I think I told him to get on the podcast. He's like, all right, guy, get away from me.
But the guy just looks like he was photoshopped. And you're like, and then you have me, like 5'9", just goofy looking, crooked nose motherfucker. And I'm like, well, I can't look off in the distance and look cool like 6'3" Colder or all these other people. Right. So what can I do? And I'm like, you know, what if I lean into it and I just make fun of it all.
Right.
But it's like the first video, that was the first video that ever blew up for me, is in my year 2018. And it's such a tongue-in-cheek travel video because people that are in the niche and in the bubble see the jokes and they're like, wow, this is hilarious. But if you don't understand like the nuances of it, I just look like a total douchebag.
Just like,
because right in the beginning, I'm like, women, money, travel, this is what I do. And so it's like the douchiest intro, but it's all like such a big joke, like shitting on that specific style of video. And
was that the one with the hot guy walking? And you're like, that's not me.
no, that was
me.
that was 3 years, 30
okay,
countries.
word.
Yeah.
That shit was funny as fuck. I was crying when I saw that. I was like, I was crying, bro. But I think that's what's so cool is that anyone who gets the world understands you're paying homage. Like truly, you're a fan of what it was, and now you're trying to throw your twist on it. But I was curious. I was just like, all right, what makes someone leave and then also carry a camera with them? Because it's not easy to travel gear. You're having to if you're living on a budget, you want to have like very little things on you. You're bringing camera shit. I was like, are they going because that was like kind of a rise? Did that pick up when you were going? And then did you kind of catch that wave? Were you able to catch that wave to an extent that helped you in your business grow? You know what I mean? Like,
so luckily
as, like, views and shit. Did people start watching? You know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean?
YouTube, yeah, 100%. YouTube just like was an afterthought for me. I wasn't ever thinking of being a YouTuber until like very recently. And for me, I was lucky enough to have this kind of ignorant entrepreneurial like, oh, dude, we can make some money. So I was just making travel videos before these like direct to consumer clients, water bottles, backpacks, stuff like that. And I had all this crazy footage. Funny enough, I'll look back through all the hard drives. I'm like, what are you doing? And I'll have the most insane shot, and you just see a girl just lift up a water bottle. I was filming with the idea of having, but then I'm like, oh my God, I have this crazy footage, and all these people are releasing these travel videos. Like, why don't I start? And I put that video up, and it's just like wildfire immediately. People were like, it's so funny. Just you have two camps. Half the people are like, this is so funny, making fun of. The other half are like, wow, what a douchebag. But they don't know because the algorithm started feeding it to so many random people. I was just making it for people in that bubble. I was like, dude, everyone's gonna get it. This is funny. Then once it got out of that bubble, like it literally, the video ends with me picking up sand and pouring it into my mouth. And I'm like, how do people think this is serious?
Girls, women, sand. Oh, girls, women, sand. Women, money. Sand.
You've been recording a lot of podcasts, man.
Jesus Christ. I have been recording a lot of podcasts.
It's also funny as fuck. Just keep looking back.
I know. I feel
you're rocking
really
the turtleneck.
I really feel like, because a lot of people would come in here and they just flex with their fits, right? So and I was like, I'll just be in here with sweats and t-shirt. Like, I just gotta get this bitch done.
Can we talk about that for 2 seconds? What are you wearing tomorrow? At
the event.
We're going to ComplexCon.
I'm wearing this. Can I?
ComplexCon is just like cutting edge fashion, hip hop, and I'm over here like, dude, I'll wear the same hoodie like 3 days in a row. I'm like, dude, I'm not fashionable, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, people are gonna roast my shoes.
Yeah, I'm a black Carhartt hoodie, just fucking black Lululemons. Call it a wrap. I'm crocking. I'm out here crocking. You know what I mean? Let me cross leg, and you see my Crocs in the shot.
Creamy Crocs, baby.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah. I think what's cool about it is like if you unlock this and you and your business partner, I'm curious like. How are you guys growing together? Like, do you feel like you said he was younger than you, but were you guys like seeing eye to eye? Was someone doing something? Did someone have like a better, like bring something to the table here and you brought something to the table? Here? Yeah.
So Luke is an insanely, you can still go watch Luke, little plug on Instagram. I would argue the best travel photographer like that I know. Yeah. And I was lucky enough to meet him just at 18 in a hostel. And he was so good at photography. Well, I mean, hindsight, we both look back at my videos and his photos were like, dude, we sucked. Yeah. But at the time I was like, dude, this guy's so good. And he just wanted to do travel photo and I wanted to do travel video. So we both had those two separate talents. And that's when our, the light bulb went off. Like, what if we started Move to Create, which is like a travel company, and we can do packages for photo and video, and then we also bring the models, and we basically make it a one-stop shop. And Luke was in London, and so he had a bunch of London-based clients, and I would have like LA-based clients, and then obviously clients from around the world. But it worked out really, really well, and I can't even think of a person that I like work better with or still owe like 90% of my career to than Luke, because just having that person to grow with and believe. And he was the very first person to like look at me and watch my shit and be like, dude, like this could actually be something like big. And at the time I'm like, dude, I just want to make like $500 here so I can buy my next plane ticket.
Right.
But he's like, dude, we can make a company around this and we can actually do. And he was the very first, because at the time I was the only like creative in my friend group. And so he was the first creative friend I ever met.
That's cool.
And on top of that, so that first feeling of
Yeah,
meeting
yeah,
someone
of
that
course.
shares that love for
Yeah.
picking up a camera and being like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So he was the first creative friend I ever met. And he was the first person that like genuinely believed in like my business side of things. And
Yeah.
then we luckily just met each other at the perfect time and grew together. So
What was some of like the companies that you remember like standout moments for like you know, because you're all doing the cold emailing and you're just trying to get people to like bite,
Yeah.
and then eventually do brands start to reach out to you? Or
Shangri-La Hotels is the hands down turnaround. It was like right in the middle. Like we were still working on like $500 water bottle commercials, like watch company commercials, little things like that. And we're firing off emails. When I say that, like we're sending so many emails, and we got a bite from Shangri-La Philippines, a 5-star like Shangri-La resort.
Damn.
And they were like, yeah, dude, you guys can come make stuff. We'll give you one of our villas for a week. And we're like such frauds. We're like, do they know?
Yeah.
We are like,
We're in the hostel.
Yeah, exactly. We're hostile guys.
Yeah, we're in the hostel.
What did we do? We have no business being there. And then we went and we made that video. And it's not my favorite video in the world, but that was the moment where I was like, dude, it really is a numbers game where eventually, like, if you keep at it and you make this your brand and you keep reaching out to enough people, then eventually one thing will click. And once that one thing clicks, then you set yourself up for 2 things to click. And
Right.
it's kind of this domino effect.
Was it like they give you deliverable goals, or are you guys just
Yeah,
still
we had like a
getting-
1-minute video that we had to make for them and like
Stills.
40 photos. Yeah.
Yeah, that in those instances, is the company still like, do they have their own agency, or like how did you find like the person? You know what I mean? Was it just social media and emailing,
Yeah.
like just random emails from social?
LinkedIn, Google,
Yeah.
like we would find the company and then be like, all right, who's the marketing director at this company? Or even if it's just the contact email on their website, like sometimes there are some people that look at it and you just like send an email like, hey, if you're not the right person to be in contact with, who will be?
Right.
And you'll have some random intern forward your email to the director of marketing, and then boom, you have the director of marketing's email. Whether or not they respond to it, it's like, okay, cool, I have it. And then we'd send like 4 or 5 follow-up emails like every month and just stay
what
on
was the
top
system?
of it.
Did you build some sort
There
of
were-
like spreadsheet?
Oh no,
You-
no,
it was
no,
just all
no.
bullshit.
The system was the system
Just
was just,
reminding yourself to do it, because
Yeah.
it's like it'd be funny if like all of a sudden you guys are emailing the same company about the same shit.
oh yeah, oh dude, there were so
Probably.
many where we'd like DM the same, but it was we had no idea what we were doing, but we still did it.
Yeah.
And that's like the most important thing. Instead of like having that mindset of like, oh, we don't know what we're doing. Why are we doing this? Let's quit. It's just like, we don't know what we're doing, but like, it's like somebody's got to enjoy
Right,
this, right?
right.
Somebody's got to like my stuff.
No, for real. And do you guys just keep like you're just constantly trying to travel, or is there big breaks where you're going back home and you're trying to like?
There'd be like 2 months on, 2 months off. But yeah, for the most part, it was those 3 or 4 years. I was gone like 3 to 4 months at a time, and then back for a month, and then
Wow.
gone 3 to 4 months. Yeah.
And when you would come back, were you trying to do
Oh,
local work?
No,
or
no.
just
Emails for the
planning
next trip.
it?
Yep.
Yeah. So how would you plan? Was the trips based on who would hire you
No. It was, Luke, where are we going next?
and just pick a place?
I love this. We want to go to the Philippines. So that's why Shangri-La Philippines, because we wanted to go to the Philippines. So we made this huge doc of like every hotel in the Philippines, reached out to everyone.
That's so crazy.
And that one hit back, and it was wild.
So as these videos
And
start,
you asked some good questions, man.
Am
I haven't even like.
I'm just curious.
I haven't even thought about that story.
But you
in,
gotta
like,
think about
6
how,
years. Yeah.
but someone listening to this can still rinse and repeat this same process right now. Like I remember trying to do this on Airbnb. Like my girl, she was coming out here to visit me. I've been living in LA for a while. I was broke as shit, but it was like, I wanted to go to Hawaii with her. We had like these vouchers to like standby flight, you know, and get there for like $70. And I was just like ripping off messages to Airbnbs like, yo, your photos suck. I have a drone. I have a camera. I can do like all this stuff for you. Let me do it. I'll take it before we go in there. I'll just shoot the shit out of it. And I like 6 people hit me back. They're like,
Yeah.
yo, I'm down.
And
That was
here's
it.
the thing: if you ever wanted to get into like realty photography and stuff, you
Yeah.
just do that for free 5 times, put that on your portfolio, and nobody knows you did it for free.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then you have a fucking,
Uh-huh.
you're out there getting work. But I think that's why I love diving into this shit, because it is that. It is. It's really like hustle. It's hustle and foresight on like how, obviously you kind of were stumbling through it and just learning as you go, and like 500 turns into 1,000, like you said, and you
Yeah.
just kind of start raising your rates. But there is a whole world. But then you see these people that are doing it on Instagram, and like they're starting to share these videos like you were talking about. They're just like hyper fucking focused like videos, and they have access to Dubai and all this
Yep.
fucking crazy shit. They're jumping out of planes, but also going and staying like some place where you sleep on water basically, or whatever. And it just can get so insane. And I think so many people I don't know if it's as crazy as it was now, like the culture of it, especially with COVID and shit. But so many people took advantage of it. But I still think like all these things that you're talking about and building those systems, even if it's not for travel-based work, like local work or just doing like product photography.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people could take advantage of some of these tips.
I genuinely believe if you really want to do something, you stick with it long enough, then it's only a matter of time. When your identity becomes that thing, it's only a matter of time where people start like picking up and really believing in what you do. And even if you're just at the beginning, we're just throwing shit at the wall and like seeing what's stuck. But then eventually after doing that 100 times, you see what does stick and you're like, whoa, hold on, let's do that one more time. And like, whoa, that worked. And then you start like picking, and then it starts becoming more and more refined, and you really figure out like how to operate. And it was cool. It was special. Yeah.
That's so dope. So when you, so those years go on, when do you start? Because I know it was, like you said, it was fairly recent that you really like took YouTube seriously.
Yes.
Like what, 2019, 2020?
After that, basically, I went full time 2 years ago. But taking it seriously was like 2021. Yeah.
Dude, that's
Like
shout out to you, because that's a solid fucking run right there for 2 years on YouTube and just crushing,
Appreciate
and
it,
building
man.
a whole niche audience.
Yeah.
Like it's not easy to grow in these worlds. I mean,
Yeah.
we're in this shit. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
creator community is interesting, but when you decided to do that, or why? I guess why? Like if you guys are building success and you're traveling, you're doing all the things you want, are you getting exhausted of being on the road all the time and living that suitcase life, or like what kind of shifted you into like this could be cool? I'm gonna stop the podcast real quick, just for a second, to talk about the illest thing I've ever done as a creative, and in my opinion, that was start the Black Window Cream community. Creating like an online place for creatives of all walks of life, whether you're just getting started or you've been doing this for 25 years, for everyone to be able to come into a safe space and connect with each other has just been so motivating. I see people share their ideas, provide tips and tricks. They're offering job opportunities if people are getting hired. They're connecting, they're building friendships, like real authentic friendships, by just being in this creative space together. It's such a cutthroat industry, and I feel like we're always just pitted to be against each other, to try to flex on each other all the time on social media and stuff, but this is not that. It's the exact opposite. The walls are down. We're all just with each other, like as if we were in some massive coffee shop, just shooting the shit. So if you haven't joined the community, I highly suggest you check it out. BWNC.com/join. We would love to have you in there. Come and say hi. We'll see you in the community. All right, let's get back to this podcast episode.
From YouTube, basically the first time that ever clicked that I could do YouTube in general was when that first viral video came out, where my year. But for me, it took, I posted a few, and by that time, after like 6 months or 7 months had gone by, or maybe a year at that point in time. That was 2019. Yeah, beginning of 2019. So it was exactly a year of like having some kind of YouTube presence. And I had obviously had my channel for a very long time, but it was just kind of videos that I'd thrown at the wall. And that one UC Davis video had blown up. And then some of my music videos had a few, but for the most part, I had like 500 subscribers when I dropped that My Year video. Dropped that kind of took me from 500, and then a few other videos here and there. It took me to like 20,000. And then boom, COVID. I was thinking I was at 19,000 when COVID hit, right?
Yeah.
Right when COVID hit. And I was like, damn, I have nothing to do. But this was the beauty of like all the places that I had traveled. I'm like, I have all of this travel footage, and I had just released, that's the video you were talking about with the guy, the funny dude, the big good looking dude, and I'm coming from behind him. In the video, it's a travel film, I swear.
That's what's cool, is it actually is. You actually have like stunning ass fucking content.
Thank you.
And the jokes just hit even harder, because that's what's funny, is it's so fucking good and so funny because you're just like clowning the shit that everyone does.
Yeah. So I dropped that video, and that then immediately after I hosted an event, and then the world shut down. COVID happened, and I'm like, okay, well, I had a decent online audience at that time, but I'm like, you know what? Why not try? I've always wanted to like really try YouTube. Now's the time. Everyone's locked up. Everyone's on their laptops. So I dropped my very first camera, or second camera song at the time. It was called Cameraman.
Right.
And that blew up. And then I dropped a video called If We All Die Tomorrow, which is like a Super 8 New Zealand travel film. That blew up. And all these videos, basically it was just like every single thing I dropped would catch fire because everyone was sitting behind their computer.
Yeah,
and I was
are you just finding the right way to clickbait, or like what was it about?
No, it wasn't even click. It was just at
just
that
worked?
point in time, it just worked. I think people are like, If We All Die Tomorrow was a Super 8 video that me and my friends went went to New Zealand and we made this video on Super 8, and essentially I made this kind of like nostalgic Super 8 video with a voiceover talking about like we're not actually gonna die, I don't think. Like I think things are gonna get better. But this was like 3 weeks after COVID, so it was hitting people, and it was like a voicemail style, and so it was like very much hitting people in the feels. And I think that one blew up. And then like
super shareable.
This is the two-sided coin of who is Sam Newton. Then I take this like very genuine, wholesome travel video shot on Super 8, and then drop cameraman.
Like right after
This first rap right after.
Everyone that's just subscribed from the first one's like, wait, what?
Dude, that's why I really need to make sure people know me. And that's why,
yeah.
like, for my channel, it's very important that, like, I'm very present. Because, you know, at the end of the day, I think people that watch my stuff fuck with who I am as a person. And I really, really appreciate that.
Right.
Because if they didn't, and I just went from like a camera to like a travel film to a, people would unsubscribe so fast. They're like, dude, this is all over the place. But I'm able to be in front of the camera a lot of times. And
no,
like,
you do a great job.
This is what I want to try.
Every video, I always know there's going to be some sort of monologue from you. You know what I mean? Like you're going to speak from your heart and talk about what that meant to you or whatever. So it's very easy to connect with you. Like, I guess maybe I just got it right away, but I've never had the disconnect.
Appreciate it, man. And yeah, then COVID happened, and I started picking up steam, and then this is where the big famous Peter McKinnon video, I had this idea. I'm like, you know, I went full-time into YouTube like 6 months, or basically was doing essentially full-time YouTube because of COVID, because I couldn't do clients. But then I made that mindset shift of like, at that point in time, I think I had like 50,000 subscribers after, so I picked up some momentum, and I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to do YouTube, I'm going to do YouTube. So I cut. And since then, like, I don't take any client videos. I don't do like side
Did you guys
directors work. Yeah, essentially because COVID.
Yeah,
so it was like we had to have that conversation. So that's where Move to Create ended, where it was like, hey, we can't do this travel stuff for like a whole year and a half. So we both have to figure out how to make it happen on our own.
What was your partner doing? He was in London.
But he's super big on Instagram. So he still did a bunch of, he runs this meetup group called UK Shooters.
Oh, cool.
Which obviously meetup groups didn't do well during COVID either. But I mean, Luke is so insanely talented. He was going to be successful no matter what. And we still work on so many trips.
Right.
He was on that Canon project with me out in the Faroe Islands. But
dope.
Yeah, essentially I had built up this audience, and I'm like, you know what, if I'm going to do full-time, I'm going to do full-time. Said no to all clients. And then my first thing was like, all right, if I'm in this camera space, who's the guy in the camera space right now on YouTube? And that was Peter, and that still is Peter.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to go full-time into YouTube, let's make a splash.
Right.
Let's make sure people know who Sam Newton is, no matter what. At the very least, like, people are like, oh, that's the turtleneck dude. That's the guy from that one video. And so I'm like, all right, well, let's call out Peter McKinnon in a funny, like tongue-in-cheek style. Let's make this rap essentially calling him out. And
for my mom, Peter McKinnon is a very big YouTuber that makes a lot of great videos, and he's been doing it for a long time and is very goated on the platform called YouTube.com.
It's crazy. See, that's how big Peter is that you don't even feel like you need to introduce
I don't
the
think
man.
You have to, but my mom definitely doesn't. Know. She listens to every episode.
Shout out, Mom.
Yeah. There's a couple moms in the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But basically, I was like, I want to make a splash. I want people to know who I am. I want this, and if anybody's gonna know who I am, let's make it Peter. And I'm like, worst case scenario, I make this video, and the algorithm kind of connects my channel with Peter's channel because it'll have and then I remember telling, this is the first time I ever worked with my producer now, Mark 9. He's so insanely talented. If anybody ever asks, like, why does your music sound so good? It's like, he is the guy.
Yeah.
I have a decent flow, but he mixes masters. He's amazing. And this is the first time I ever pitched him a project. And I'm like, yo, and then same with Cuts Clothing, one of my first sponsors, rocking the hoodie right now. Shout out Cuts. Basically pitched them both. I'm like, hey, I'm going to do this big video. I need budget, and I need you to make this beat for like free, essentially. But this is the biggest guy in my industry. Worst case scenario, it's going to do okay and like connect the channel. Best case scenario, he sees it, shouts it out, and like maybe it'll pick up some traction. And that was like in my mind, but I wasn't really expecting that to happen. And a week later, boom, Peter McKinnon uploads a video like
reacting to
saying
it.
Like, I got called out, and it was like a 7, and people love drama, so that title in and of itself was like, he got called, like, what's going on? And he just showed me so much love that I didn't deserve it. Like, literally an 8-minute video of him just being like, yo, this guy's doing it differently. This guy's next. This guy's someone you should go check out.
Yeah, he co-signed like super hard.
Dude, and once I got Peter's seal of approval, I went from 50,000 to 80,000 in a week.
So crazy.
And then that's when that was like definitely one of the biggest turning points of my life, where I'm like, oh my God, not only now, just
everyone shared the shit out of it.
Dude,
like everyone was passing around, like even if they're not remotely into YouTube culture, like, but if you're a video creative or some in that element, like people were sharing that shit out. But that, I mean, the head nods came crazy. So then when you made it, that's what's so interesting, is that you had like foresight to be like, all right, there's two ways this goes, but both of them are good enough for me to put that.
There was intention. There was like a business mind. I've always had that business mindset behind, just like, whoa, this is funny.
Yeah. And took it head on. So then when you do that, Peter reaches out. First off, the video does really well. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, it's fucking funny. And then he's reacting to it. And I can't remember. Did you guys end up linking?
Yeah. So he came out to San Diego, where I lived at the time, and
for that,
no. He was shooting like an Angels and Airwaves documentary. Like he's out with Tom DeLonge shooting. And I'm like, dude, if you're in San Diego, like let's get coffee at least for an hour.
Right.
I would love that. And he was like, dude, absolutely. And we met up. And at the time, I remember, if I look back at the footage, it's kind of terrible, like quality footage, because he was like, yo, I'm pretty beat. Like, to be honest, can we just not document it? Yeah, can we just like be him? I'm like, dude, 100%. I'm so cool with that. And my buddy Chase had showed up, and he brought his camera, luckily enough, just to maybe take some photos of us. And because I was like, dude, I got to get a photo of Peter and I in the turtlenecks.
Yeah, that's clutch.
And the moment we showed up, Peter put the turtleneck on, and Pete's just an absolute character. Yeah. And he's like, well, let's go film. You want to film something? I'm like, you told me you
couldn't. Because you just turned him into a superhero, bro. You know what I mean? You just turned him on. You just turned him on, and he's ready to go.
It's a feeling when
he's
put
tired
on the
and shit. Let's leave the cameras off
this.
You
put the cream. See, that's why you got to start rethinking this, man. When you introduce the cream, crazy things happen. Crazy things happen.
Yeah, I guess.
But basically, he threw that on. He's like, let's get some stuff. And I remember just panicking, like, oh, I don't have an ND. So we shot at like F12 or something. It was just terrible quality. We shot the whole thing, I think, in like 1080. The audio, it was just all on like photo settings. And I was panicking, obviously, because I'm like, oh, now I have to be charismatic. I wasn't planning on doing this. And I was like, oh. But it was such a cool, and then having Peter's stamp of approval, basically, it's such a shift in my life of the way people approached me, and I was like, whoa, what? I'm like, but like I'd have companies reach out so much more interested, and then, I can't say it like immediately led, but I'm sure, Canon had seen something like that. Then a year later, just waking up and boom, look, there's an email, literally cold email, just like, yo, let's see how we can work. I remember the email, not doxing anybody, but it was just like so cocky of just like, hey, Sam, love your stuff. Let's see how we can work. And I was like, I had to like Google. I'm like, is this a real email? I was panicking. I'm like, whoa. But after that Peter moment, man, it was pretty crazy. Just the way different companies approached me, having his stamp of approval was insane. And so like, you look back at your life and you see all these different milestones of what you hit. And like Luke was the very first person to like believe in me, and then you have that next step of like, all right, now Peter not only believed in me, but like, hey, this guy's gonna do it. Yeah, he does it differently. And so you have all these little steps that you can look back on, and that was a really cool moment.
Well, that's why like building your network is so key, obviously, in different ways, right? You could build your network within the clientele space, but also having peers in the space. And that's what's so interesting. Even in college, like you're grinding it out and always making these videos, and everyone's well received, but it didn't seem like there was any like friends that maybe were sort of like interested in the same shit with you, and that didn't come until you were fucking in like Thailand or whatever the fuck?
Not a single. In high school, like all through college, I was the camera guy, but I was literally the only camera guy. There was crazy. None of my friends did photo, none of my friends did video, up until Luke. I met Luke, and then when I started traveling, it was just by myself or with a couple friends, but they didn't do photo or video. And then I met Luke, and
it's better late than never. But did you I think what's cool about that, because you see the same shit happen to Peter with Casey Neistat. And it's like Casey goes and finds Peter and talks about this kid that he found, and all of a sudden Peter's channel starts booming, and like those head nods go a long way for people. And I don't even know if they know it at the time when they're doing it, like how much it can change someone's life. And Casey did it with Sarah Dici. Sarah was very similar path, like made the I'm a Casey Neistat day in the life whatever video, and then her career booms because people just, I don't know, it's so crazy how those platforms work.
Well, yeah, I mean, at the very least, it's just like forever I will have that connection to Peter, and forever I'll have like, even if people don't subscribe, even if people don't like, for me and what I think has helped me sustain my career in like our creator bubble is like, even if you don't know me as a person, even if you don't know like my joke, there's a pretty decent chance through like a lot of the videos that I've made that I've probably like seen one of my, if you own a camera, there's a pretty decent chance that you like either saw the Shoots on Nikon video, which was the parody I made about Nikon, or the or the Peter video, or the cameraman, or the content creator anthem, like all these little songs that I made just for fun, like put my face, that it was like branding, right? It just put my face in front of all these people that own cameras. And then like I have the other side of the coin where I'm like, well, I also want to be a respected filmmaker, and I want to make travel films that inspire people and really bring people to life. Like I think there's a lot of videos out there that you watch and kind of go through the same thing, and I love when you can just like feel something, whether you cry, and just on YouTube a lot of times it's just like, here's the top 5 reasons that you're not doing it right, or you're doing what. And I just love, like, not that I haven't made videos like that, but I love like just making sure I always have that component of me that's like, hey, I'm gonna joke around a lot, I'm gonna make big stupid funny ideas come to life, but like I really love that people keep coming back because they say, hey, Sam's gonna still make these crazy travel films that mean a lot to him, and that, I hope when I talk about these things that I can inspire more people to make films that they are genuinely just stoked on.
Well, because at the end of the day, dude, the talent shines through too. On top of it, just having you can tell that you know what you're doing. On top of like, there's the jokes and shit, and obviously that can bring people in. But then you set a tone. Like I was really like turned onto you with the piece you did with Canon when you went to where'd you go? Iceland, and you went with that
Norway
photographer, and she was telling a story about, I think her dad or
Mm-hmm.
someone crashed a plane or something, and it was like, it was so cool how you were able to like tell a person's story in that fashion, but your experiences of being able to capture location and being able to find access and deal with some chaotic moments in time. Was that the trip where you got like the COVID shit happened? So even then, I think you were supposed to have. That's why I was like, God damn!
We were supposed to have 10 days to shoot the whole thing.
Imagine if you had 10 days.
Supposed to have 10 days. I got quarantined in Norway for 10 days, and so we had to just push it back. And so we had 3 days to shoot that whole thing. This is my first project ever. This is right after we got signed to the collab, and I was like, dude, it's literally me, you, Mark, Rory, like all these people that are just so insanely talented. I said me, but all so insanely talented. Everybody has a check mark, and then there's Sam Newton. There's a Nikon. There's the guy who makes fun of Nikon. There's the cream turtleneck sweater. Like I felt like such an anomaly in that group. I'm like, dude, I don't belong here. But so my idea was like, yo, if we're gonna do this, I'm gonna come in hot, right?
Yeah.
I gotta impress. Like I didn't, at the time I thought I was like, I'm the nobody of the group, but I still want to make a statement. I want to make a splash. So I went to Canon immediately right up. I'm like, all right, well, let's make something.
Right.
I turned that video around in a month and had that concept ready to go, and I was so proud. 3 days, and then being able to tell that story of my friend Julia and the video that we made, and that was another one of those moments in my life where I'm like, dude, it clicked.
Yeah. No, it was very moving. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. I'll make sure to link out to shit in the.
It's called Eye of the Storm.
Eye of the Storm. It's on Sam's page. Also subscribe. I think that it really shed light on a really cool creator story. Is she from there? She's from there, right?
No, she's from Italy.
Italy. So she's telling
she's from Italy. She's from the Dolomites.
Yeah.
And basically Julia Gardner, shout out Julia, one of the coolest, just most insanely talented people and friends of mine. And basically her dad got in a plane crash in the Italian Dolomites, and she just had like a fear of travel in general naturally because that happened. And then she picked up a camera and like re-sparked this relationship with her and like getting out there and seeing the world because of the camera. But she had to fight past that initial fear of like the reason why her dad was gone. So the whole idea is like, you have the eye of the storm, which the storm's coming, but once you get through the storm, in the middle of every storm, it's like this moment of peace.
Yeah.
So like that's how she got through all of her like depression and anxiety, was just by like actually pushing through it and going out to these places that terrified her.
Well, and the way that you complement that story, I saw this a while back, and I have terrible memory. That's why thanks for catching me up again. The way you capture it, if you would have shot that in like, I don't know, backcountry of like Southern California,
Tulum,
yeah, right. That shit would have never clicked. But the chaos of the environment you were in, it was cloudy, overcast, like dark and windy as fuck and crazy. Like I feel like that the way you captured that element and had the right sound bites and got the story out of the subject, like it just comes together so well. But yeah, man, it's ridiculous the way you tell stories, and I
man.
love that you do it. But I also think that it's cool because it's a very interesting way of like running a channel, because they're just very artful pieces, which is always hard to get motherfuckers to watch.
Yes, I mean,
you know what I mean?
The algorithm doesn't love when you just post a regular video by itself and just like don't say anything at the end, or don't like clickbait people at all. So I mean, that's the beauty of, like I said, I always try to show up. And this is when I tell people, like, hey, if you're starting a channel, if you want to get on YouTube, you have to try your best, even if you suck, because a lot of people, I was never just good on camera. Same with you at the beginning, first time. It's just, you're going to suck, but being able to build that relationship with your audience, you get so much more grace with your films, and you can put out something that isn't as good or isn't as, but people now understand your journey. They understand who you are as a person, and they give you so much more leeway instead of just like, here's my work, I hope people like it. But now people don't know who you are, so it's like, okay, then if they don't like engage with it, you're like, damn, I suck, no one liked it, as opposed to just, you know, hopping on at the end of the video and just say, hey, this was the video I made, I'm so proud of it for this reason, this reason, this reason. Little things like that, just showing up on your own videos helps. Astronomically.
Well, it was cool because you and me got lunch with the people from Canon, I think before you even went on that trip, and it was cool because I didn't know, like, we hadn't met in person or whatever. We were chatting and shit, and we were talking to Canon. The people at Canon were like, I think to them, they thought that we were just so used to like being in the mix with shit that we wouldn't think it was as cool to sign to Canon. And you and me both were like, yo, this is like life-changing shit. You know what I mean? And that I thought was the coolest shit, because I felt that, but I wasn't sure how everyone else felt. I was like, everyone is fucking rock star and like does all this cool shit. And you guys have YouTube channels, your Instagram's booming, like all this shit, you know? And so, but I'm like, I remember what it was like getting my first camera, and the fear of paying money for this thing that cost so much money, and like finally getting it and what I could create. And I just love that, you know, for us, it was like, we're kind of telling them like, this shit's really tight.
Yeah. No, I mean, what they did with the collab, man, it's so cool. If you guys don't know, Ben and I were members of the collab, which is an ambassador program that they put together, and basically just want to build on just bringing people's passion projects to life, because I think a lot of times there's some red tape with huge companies like Canon, where it's like, okay, well, if we're going to do this, we have to prove this, we have to prove this, and it was tough for them to get stuff out, so they brought on this team of just, and again, like, bro, you have a Grammy. You work with Beyonce. Rory works with Justin Bieber. Ravona, is it?
Raven.
Yeah. Raven. She's just doing the craziest stuff with Adele.
Yeah, I know, man.
Yeah, Raven's working with Adele.
Everyone's nuts,
dude. Everyone's nuts. And then there was me. I'm like, okay, my only thing was like, I had I think the biggest YouTube audience.
Hell yeah, which is very hard to.
Yeah, but for me, I was such a fraud. Like, and that's something where like, hopefully other people can take away from this. Like, no matter what level you're at, you're gonna
never satisfied.
Dude, and imposter syndrome just bleeds through the walls no matter what.
Facts.
And so I was sitting in that room and I'm like, dude, I'm the dude who makes funny raps.
Yeah.
I wore a literal cape and called out Peter McKinnon. And like, here's a dude who makes a full documentary with Beyonce. Here's another dude. Rory, I've been watching Rory's stuff since literally I was like in college. Like, dude, look at this guy doing his Avicii videos. And so like, to be in that same group for me was dude. And you were talking about how you showed up and told Canon like, this is cool. I'm sitting there like, I was like, dude, I almost had a panic attack that day. I remember driving over, like, dude, dude.
I got the vibe that this is just your life. Like, you be fucking with brands all the time. And I was like, yeah, I mean, he's got a YouTube channel. He travels the fucking globe. Of course, he's been like, this shit's probably just like a everyday thing. I just assumed that. And I remember I always said, Dave heard me say this a million times, because I'm always like, the way I look at things in every opportunity is the fact, like, the small possibility of chance. The small possibility of chance that you'd be at a hostel and meet your business partner / friend, first friend in this industry, best friend, whatever, and you have that opportunity of like building this insane thing with that person. There's 1 out of now 8 billion motherfuckers on Earth.
Yeah.
And I always say that. And I always thought that was so cool that there was like 6 of us that got chosen out of 8 billion people. All 8 billion want to fucking run and gun with cameras.
Yeah.
But it is really crazy in totality how rare of the opportunity is, and then to be blessed with the opportunity to go travel the world and be able to create the art you want to do. For me to say I want to do a podcast, try to empower creators, and now I have a fucking set and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's bizarre, and it's so humbling, and the opportunities just seem to like I don't know, the door's wide open.
I mean, obviously, people are going to think we're biased because we're Canon ambassadors, but I think what Canon's doing is really cool,
I don't
man.
know. One of the best camera companies in the world.
You want to get camera, man. You know?
What did you do? I know a lot of times you talk on your channel, though, like you do seem to like kind of go into like creative depression or roadblocks or these things. Like you've made a couple videos like, yo, here's like the truth of this or whatever. And you kind of go in on like feeling like that. Is that a challenge for you with the types of videos you make? Because you know, like you're constantly trying to give positive messages, but sometimes you might just not have a message to make, but you feel like you owe someone a video. Or do you ever feel like you run into roadblocks like that? And like, what is that like
I mean, my thing is just always trying to be transparent with where I am at that moment. And for me, it's such a core, like these videos don't do, the algorithm is not going to blow up a video of some dude sitting at his desk with a microphone just being like, hey guys, this is what's going on.
Trust me, we know.
Right? Unless it's a podcast and you put big ass yellow text and you go, you want to buy a camera in 2022? Well, this is what you're doing wrong. If you're not doing that and you're just sitting down talking, it's tough, but it's so, again, I said it once and I'll say it 1,000 times. It's such a core component of me being a creator, and my success is like my top 10% of fans that watch my stuff and really like fuck with who I am as a person. They'll gladly sit down and listen to a 10-minute video of me going through. And then if they listen to that, then when I drop those, you know, the videos that will do well, the travel films that everybody loves, and then my fans that really, really enjoy my stuff, that gives those travel films so much new meaning, completely new context, and they appreciate it so much more. And so like being transparent with your journey, with where you are, no matter where you are, because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not doing something cool. I'm living in Arkansas right now and nothing's cool. But documenting that and sharing it with the world, for me, is still such a core component of creating, because eventually if you do that long enough, you're going to blow up, and then you're going to look back at all this footage of you shooting in the fields of Arkansas and be like, dude, that's where I started. That's crazy. And I have very, very little of that when I started, because I didn't really hang out with other creators, so no one was shooting me. But I have such a painfully low amount of shots from when I started traveling of just like me having fun with the camera, or my friends just having genuine moments, because I was so caught up in like, I need to get the bangers. If this shot isn't perfect, then like, why am I keeping it? And I would just delete a shot if it was just like a funny moment or a messed up take. But those ones, when you look back on, you're like, dude, that's the journey that like I wish I had so much more of.
Well, I think that's what's cool about your films too, when you're featuring yourself in the, like you and the people that you're making art with, like having fun or going out and chasing it and just seeing, you know, it's one thing to see the POV, but then to see what it's really like capturing the moment or being out there and just feeling free and like completely in way off the grid on a coastline somewhere looking over an incredible sunset and shit. But like you get those moments. Obviously we can't capture that shit when we're getting started. Like I might have like 3 fucking photos of me like with a jib back in college being like, this is sick. You know what I mean? Like, but that was you come up years, but when you reflect on it, there's so much growth that happens, and it's cool to show that to your audience. And I think that, like you said, it resonates when they finally see the next thing and they're like, oh, cool, he got out of the rut. Like everyone probably didn't see that video, but these people that knew see you get out of the rut, they champion for you. But we started this whole podcast based on you making videos 12 years ago, and like the growth factor is so important to all of this, to the story, you know, which is so dope. I feel like I'm curious about, you know, you getting to the point where you started to like build a network of other creators that you collaborate with. Like you've talked about a music producer, and who are all the people that you work with on your team, and how do they help you thrive? Because you're starting to do sets, you're making music videos where you have teams, you have a DP. Like how did you expand?
I love this. This is my favorite question, because this is genuinely like these are my best friends that I get to make stuff with I can't speak, man. Luke, drop it. Come on, let them know. I was expecting the I was ready for the Drake, the air horn.
It would have been funnier if I did it like as you're fucking up there, just like, he sucks.
I got dude, you gotta hit him with it. I could take it. I could take the punches.
The worst is that the people that are in this room helping us film this can't hear any of this shit, so it's just us laughing at nothing.
Okay, so basically Luke was the very first person. He helped me like build my creative, you know, brand and my confidence. Then I met Chase Viken in San Diego, and he was the one I lived with in San Diego. Chase was like my secret weapon in San Diego. All those videos that you saw like throughout my journey that we brought up, cameraman Peter McKinnon, like Chase shot all of those.
Okay, dope.
When I was in front of the camera, obviously I needed, and so he was one of my first like creative friends that I got to live with. So then I met Alex Romo. He shot me a DM. He tagged me. Shout out Alex. He was like, dude, I love you so much. You're my biggest inspiration. Kind of something like that. And I was like, let me bless your life with some good stuff. He's gonna hate me. But basically he tagged me in one of these like posts like top, these are the people that inspire me.
Oh,
and it was
right.
one of those lists. And I was in the bottom. I'm like, yo, dude, you got some cool stuff. Would you want to help out with this video? We made a video together, and Alex is just the most helpful person that I've ever met. And
From San Diego, or
he lives in San Diego. He's from LA.
Oh, okay.
or no, from San Diego, lives in LA now.
Yeah.
But he was in San Diego at the time, so I was in San Diego. So we got to connect there. And so basically those were like my three. Luke, Chase, and Alex have helped me just every single step of the way. And then Marco, my producer. And so if you watch my last video, my year video from last year, Artlist helped me. Surprise, like, oh gosh.
Oh yeah, the homies. Like you gave no,
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
That voice
part of
crack,
life,
dude.
baby. It's part of life. But you surprised the team with what'd you get them? Did you gift them something?
Yeah, so basically I hit up Artlist and they're like, hey, we want to do a big video with you at the end of the year. I'm like, cool. What's the budget? And then they gave me the budget. I'm like, can I get like twice as much as that? And then also I'm gonna take all of the money and buy my friends gifts with it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, and they're like, yeah, sure. And I was like, damn, okay, that's dope.
It's Monopoly money.
And I bought my producer a MacBook Pro. I bought Alex a MacBook Pro. I bought Chase a Super 73, and I bought Luke, is a huge watch fan. He got the most expensive gift. I got him an Omega watch, I do believe. Not an Omega watch. What did I get him?
Something tight.
I got him something.
Yeah.
I got him a nice watch. That was me trying to pitch to Artlist. Like, I may or may not be taking half this budget and putting it on a watch.
Yeah.
But he loves watches, and I knew that would be like one of the most like special things to be. You know, when you work so hard and you finally get to a point where you're like, wow, I feel like it's finally clicking. The first thing I want to do, I'm like, okay. I felt weird when I'm like, oh, dude, I got this big budget, but if I take it in, I'm like, well, what if I just give it back to the people that made me who I am today?
So sick.
And so that's the first thing I did, and I bought them that, and I wanted Luke to cry on camera because I gave him the watch, and he didn't.
Damn it.
But
Dude,
then
it's such a cool way to give
He called
your
me
flowers.
crying a couple months later. So
Yeah. But it's a cool way to like give flowers to people that you're around the most and that you thrive with, and like finding ways to. That's so dope.
If
like,
you don't show people you appreciate them, then eventually people are gonna be like, feel isolated and then break off. And they're all so insanely talented. And I try that in my videos all the time. I try to make sure people know that like, hey, this isn't just me. Like this person shot this. I love doing behind the scenes. I try to give credit whatever credit is due, because if you don't, then it just is a very isolating field to be in.
Right. I love. You had told me about how you've been doing these like meetups, and we talked about it briefly. But you said you did the one before COVID. You got all these people together, not a meetup, but like a film festival.
Yeah. So for my birthday.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right.
Year.
It's your birthday. So how many have you been able to do so far?
We've done 3 total. We had to skip COVID, obviously. So
Right.
it's been,
Right.
Yeah.
So you basically were just like, I'm gonna do a film festival. Was it like a legitimate film festival where people are submitting, or you just like let friends come show shit?
Year one, we went and bought a 70-inch TV from Costco and put it on like a one of those standing desks and had a bunch of people in the Ventura office down in San Diego, and then returned the TV the next day.
Yeah.
So it was really janky, and there was like 50 people. Then year 2, right before, literally 2 weeks before COVID happened, that's when I had like 20,000 subscribers. I was feeling a little bit like hot shit. I'm like, this is cool. We had 125 people, and then COVID happened. Things kind of took off, and then I pitched Canon this event. And we had last year, that's when I premiered Eye of the Storm.
Yeah.
We had 250 people here in LA. So it's been cool to watch the progression of that. And
so sick.
For me, just even once a year on my birthday, and I want to make this a thing for like hopefully the rest of my life. Once a year on my birthday, have this little this event where I can bring people together, because the amount of people that I knew from my life that didn't know each other was mind blowing. And they met, and then now I have friends that are super good friends. And I'm like, where'd you guys meet, by the way? And they're like, you're Film Fest.
Yeah.
And so that's so special, because I try to bring community into everything I do on my YouTube channel. And sometimes I felt like I was talking about it all the time, and like, hey, shout out the Cream Team, shout out everybody who watches my videos. But then I was never hosting things in person. And I'm like, you know what? I want to change that and bring the community
Yeah.
together. And so I did that, and man, there's something about, even if it's a small passion project and you invite 7 friends to your house, there's no better feeling than watching people watch your work and like appreciating it in real life.
Yeah, are you the type like when you finish a cut and you want someone to watch, you make them sit in the computer and you stand behind them so you can watch their eyes?
Yeah.
I just watch their face react to the things that, you know what I mean?
Especially when it's comedy, man. It's so like you have to sit there and you're like, that's a joke, it needs to land. And when you see them laugh, you're
they
like,
did laugh. All right, there we go.
come on. Or if they didn't laugh, you're
Yeah.
like, okay, well that didn't hit. It's so important with comedy more than anything else, because you got to watch people to see if see if it hits. But yeah, dude, it's so having people in person appreciate your work. I remember when that film ended, I was just bawling.
Were you?
Yeah, I was sitting there. I was like sitting down, just crying, watching it, and like credits coming up, and I'm sitting there, like wiping off my tears and standing up, because it's crazy, dude. You look up and you see all these people that
Just
you love. Like,
enjoyed
I see like my best friends in the front row. I see my mom and dad in the front row, and it's really cool to be like, damn, these people are all part of my journey.
No,
and,
I love that. I'm inspired by it because I think I might have told you this because you had told me that was happening on your birthday. I was like, damn, I was trying to do something on my birthday during COVID, because Black Window Cream is a creator community, and we've all, like, everyone's been asking for it, and we never did. And then that was what I was going to do, is like June of 2020, do like a big birthday thing and just force everyone to come hang out. But it was cool to see that you've done it, and I'm inspired. And so I hopefully by the time this shit's out, I'm sure you'll hear an ad for maybe one. Hopefully.
Hey, if it's out before
Dave's
February,
going like, yo, slow your roll, man. Like, we got so much shit going.
February 18th should be mine this year. So,
yeah. So every February you gotta be ready for another one. So, but you're letting fans come as well now, right?
Dude, everyone, yeah.
Everyone
the tickets go live, so it's kind of first come, first serve, and anybody's welcome to come and meet. Dude, last year, and this is something where I'm like, okay, it's gonna be local. Last year I had a couple fly out from Seattle, this kid fly out from Tennessee, someone from Florida. There was like almost 10 people that bought plane tickets to come out, and I was like, dude,
how does that make you feel? Like, how crazy, like,
overwhelming. Yeah,
making videos just turned into like literally bringing people together. But
and I always see myself like I'm Sam, like I'm a weird dude. And like to meet people and you see them like shit, like the way that feeling I had with the Canon meeting, and like seeing them walk up and they're like so nervous, and I'm like 4 beers deep, like, I'm like, bro, what up? And you see what it's like on the, but it's overwhelming. It's just something you got to process, being a part of this whole journey and taking it all in and trying to stay, humble and trying to stay grounded. It's like, damn, that's really special that I can have that impact on people's lives.
So where do you take this shit?
What's next?
Yeah, what's next?
Damn,
where do you take this shit?
Man, I think people always, for me, I try not to think too big in the like 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead. I don't think I really have that many goals beyond what I'm doing right now, man. I'm so blessed. Like, I can make the projects I love with the people I love and not have to just feel like I'm a slave to the algorithm or a slave. And for me, that's perfect. As a creative, as an artist, that's perfection, man. That's everything I want to be. And so as long as I'm in a place where I'm so happy and proud and like just genuinely proud of what I'm putting out, even if it's like a big powerful travel piece or just like a funny video, like we're dropping this video called Sour Cream, a music video, and the entire song is called Sour Cream, and it's like there's like really no jokes in the song too much, but the whole song in and of itself, it's like a Family Guy episode. The whole thing is one big joke.
Right.
And for me, I think it's hilarious that the team and I went through so much effort to put that together. And I just want to make sure people just like always appreciate, like, hey, no matter what Sam's doing, it's something that he is going to be proud of. And I hope people, if there's anything to take away from that, like, just make sure you're making stuff, when you're so caught up in like, all right, what am I making? If you're walking away from this podcast episode, taking away anything from this at all, it's like, when was the last time I just like asked myself, what do I want to make?
Right.
Ignore the trends, ignore the algorithm, ignore what they want to see. Like, when was the last time you asked, like, what do I want to make? And when was the last time you acted on it? Even if it's just a weekend project, even if it's so few people take the time to ask themselves that question, and even fewer people take the time to act on it. And so like, that's what I want my North Star to be. It's just inspiring people to like get out there and make these passion projects come to life. Because if you do it enough times, you will eventually get paid for it, and that'll be your life.
Yeah, I love that. And I think so many people get caught up in like the idea that it has to become work, and when you start making it just a job, then you start to hate the art of it, and you got into it for the wrong, that's not why you got into it. But I heard you say this, I don't know what video it was from, but I wrote it down. you said the 3 tips that you have for like a successful career are being around good people, falling in love
with what you do,
and committing. And I think like you putting in the actual effort, you really literally absorbing and becoming as good as you possibly can with the camera, but the like being able to truly fall in love with making projects is what stands out in your work. That's what I get from you. So shout out to you for doing that. And
Appreciate
I hope people fucking take notice on that, because a lot of people can fall in love, or they say they're in love, but I really sometimes don't believe it, because I think they're just in this rabbit race or whatever the fuck that's called, rat race.
I don't think it's something you could fake. When you're really, really passionate about what you do and what you make, I think people will understand that and see that. And if it's something that you're just consistently just feeding the algorithm and you're like, dude, I hate this, people eventually catch on, and it's something that I think eventually it all shines through. So
Right.
And notice, Ben, how I said people you love, like you were talking about network is so important, but what's even for me one step more important than that, you can have successful friends that make you better. You can have, but if at the end of the day, you don't feel good with like being around them, and it's like, oh, nice, this is my network now, and they're successful people, but they're shitty people, and you don't feel good about what they're doing and what they're making, then it'll all fall apart. But if you're doing stuff if you meet someone who isn't as success, and everyone always talks about like finding people more successful, getting in that room, it's so important. But what about like looking left and right to the people that are on the same path of the journey as you, finding people on that same journey that you connect with. And so like all my friends, they weren't insanely talented filmmakers. We grew up together. Yeah, and we did that together. And I'm so blessed to have people that I really, really love. And like, these are my best friends that I'm like, yo, Canon gave us a like, dude, I was like, yo, Luke, Alex, Canon gave us a budget. Let's go make something happen. And my crew was literally just my best friends that we hopped on a plane.
Tight.
Yeah.
No, I know. I love that feeling, man. Yo, I'm proud for you. I'm happy for you. Like, shout out to you for getting the Canon thing. I know, this is fucking sick. I'm glad we were able to do this shit. When we wrap these episodes, this is what I do.
All right.
You have to pick a hashtag, okay?
Okay.
So my instructions to everyone listening is that they have to go to your Instagram, whatever your latest post, the last post you made, they're going to comment this hashtag. They're going to tag me at BenRealVerseWorld. What is it?
I got it.
Say it.
Do you want black with cream?
Black with cream?
Black with cream.
All right.
The Noah's gone.
Tag me. Put hashtag black with cream.
The cream is here, baby.
The cream is here to stay. And tag me. I've been Real vs. World. So then we both know that you listened to the whole fucking thing. Can you get this, Dave?
I don't know who's got the zoom there.
He's got you right here.
There we go.
He's just holding
Give me
up
that
our coffee
black
cup.
with cream.
He just painted out
the cream has come.
Do that. That's gonna be funny because people are gonna be tagging this shit randomly for like the next several years, and I'm gonna love watching this. Dude, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
This is awesome, man. This is so cool what you built, and the community that you built is dope. So
thanks.
I appreciate it.
We did it.
We done that. Yeah. And I always say when I do podcasts, if you made it all the way to the end, hit me up. Say hi. You know?
Yeah.
I like saying hi to people. So
hell yeah. All right. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you.
Wow. Hit it.
Yo, it's Ben. I just wanted to say thank you for listening to today's episode. We have plenty of episodes that have come out in the past, and we're dropping new ones every single Sunday for season 2. So make sure to subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening to or watching on. And if you haven't joined Black with No Cream community, what you doing? It's the best community for creators on the planet Earth. Go to bwnc.com/join. We would love to see you in there. Please join. All right. See you next week.